The great toilet paper panic of 2020, the time when the world collectively decided that the key to surviving a global panini was hoarding derriere decoupage like it was the currency of the apocalypse. Forget about gold or silver. We all wanted those soft two-ply squares of reassurance. Supermarkets became battlegrounds, and toilet paper rolls were the coveted treasures in a game of panorama plunder. It was a real-life version of Survivor, Quilted Northern Edition. We may not have found the cure for COVID-19, but we sure did find the cure for ever running out of toilet paper. Just unleash a bit of chaos and watch the rolls roll in. Welcome to Capers and Cocktails, a true crime podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously and gives you something to enjoy while you listen. The following content may be disturbing to some. Discretion is advised. If you're enjoying one of our themed cocktails, ensure you're of legal drinking age and have fun, but drink responsibly. Panic buying is a fascinating dance between our primal instincts and the modern-day chaos of uncertainty. When the world gets a bit shaky, our brains switch on the survival mode, fueled by fear and anxiety about the unknown. It's like a contagious game of follow the leader. Once a few folks start clearing out the shelves, it triggers a herd mentality, and suddenly everyone is playing catch-up, fearing they'll be left with crumbs. This behavior is also driven by the fear of missing out or not having enough, which is actually a psychological condition or quirk or, phenomenon known as loss aversion. Even when there's no real scarcity, the perception of scarcity creates a sense of urgency, turning everyday items like toilet paper into coveted treasures. So in essence, panic buying is our quirky way of trying to control the uncontrollable, turning grocery stores into battlegrounds and making us wonder if we really do need that fifth jar of pickles. Panic buying ran rampant during the early days of the panorama lockdowns, especially in Asia and the United States. Essential goods like hand sanitizers, disinfectants, and even basic food items experienced shortages. This scarcity led to price gouging, where sellers on the black market, charged exorbitant prices for these in-demand items. Y'all, do you all remember those posts of people selling like hand sani out of their garages, right? So like 4 times the price. And while most of those people bought low and sold high, some people, including the stars of today's podcast, stole at $0 and sold high. But if today's bold thieves weren't out panic stealing, they might have been drinking. We all did our fair share of drinking at home during the global panini, right? I actually had a bit of a hard time finding a drink to nicely pair with this week's episode, so this one is a bit of my own creation. We are going to make a Hong Kong milk tea cocktail. Hong Kong milk tea dates back to the British colonial era. Introduced in the early 20th century, it evolved as a local adaptation of British afternoon tea traditions. Today, Hong Kong milk tea is cherished for its robust flavor, often served with a sweetened condensed milk, and remains a beloved beverage enjoyed across the region. And to make ours a cocktail, well, we're just going to add some bourbon. To make the cocktail, we will first make the milk tea and then jazz it up. First, steep 3 bags of orange pekoe tea, or you can use loose leaf tea, just use a lot of it, in 1 cup of boiling water for 5 minutes. Tea drinkers, that probably seems like it's going to be a strong tea, and it is. That's the point, because you're then going to mix the tea with 1/3 cup of evaporated milk and sweetened condensed milk to taste. You can drink this iced or hot, and if you prefer it iced, you'll refrigerate it until chilled, then add your desired level of ice. To make it a cocktail, whether you do it hot or cold, just add 1 part bourbon and stir. The mocktail is the same procedure. Steep your 3 tea bags or your loose leaf tea mixed with the evaporated milk and sweetened condensed milk, and either chill or enjoy hot. While people were trying to find canned food, bottled water, and hand sanitizer, perhaps no item was more coveted and sought after than the posterior pamper, the lavatory layers, the white gold itself, toilet paper. And during this peak of panic buying, 3 men in Hong Kong's Mongkok district tracked down the schedule for a major grocery store's restock delivery. On the day of the next shipment, February 17th, 2020, these 3 men grabbed at least one knife and hid near the loading area of the store. Once the driver parked the truck and began unloading the supplies, the thieves sprung into action. One of them approached the delivery man to ask him what time the store opened. He returned a minute later with a 3-inch fruit knife, pretty small knife, and he pointed it 3 inches away from the delivery man's waist and told him not to move. The other 2 may have been a bit disappointed when they saw before their very eyes 600 rolls of toilet paper shining in the sun. Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but it's not really a lot. 600 rolls of toilet paper was worth $218. Still, 50 packs is better than no packs, and I guess maybe they could have made double their money on it, or triple. So they loaded the Verjoy branded toilet paper onto a cart and fled the scene. The police quickly tracked down the toilet paper bandits and found all the stolen rolls in a nearby guest house. In March of 2021, 27-year-old Ho Chi Leung, 34-year-old Lee Yan Tu, and 30-year-old Lee Yip Tong all pleaded guilty to 1 joint count of burglary in court. They were sentenced to 40 months in prison. I guess because it was a premeditated crime, that's what the judge said. It seems like a lot of months to me for the value of the commode cloth. Based on what I know about the American criminal justice system, this kind of feels like something that would have just gotten dismissed. But carrying a knife does make this aggravated burglary, and it's an absolute felony. Crime does not pay unless you get away with it, which these guys definitely did not. The judge also ordered the men to pay back the value of the cheek sheets and to apologize to the delivery truck driver. They did at least apologize. We don't really know the motive behind this crime. I mean, we can guess, but we also don't know much about the story. I, for one, would not like to be known as the dudes who went to prison for over 3 years for $218 worth of toilet paper. So I guess unless these guys write a book telling their tale, we may never know more. I can see the title of their memoir now. Rolling Heist, A Panorama Pilferer's Tale. Thanks for hanging out with me. Listen, I don't want to downplay the toilet paper desperation of 2020. My aunt had to actually mail me some. 2020 still feels like a fever dream to me. That was 100 years ago and 5 seconds ago at the same time. Can you believe it was 4 years ago? It's wild. Since this is a short episode, I'm going to plug my social media today. Please go follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I make cute graphics. They're cute. It's cute. TikTok is a fun one if you just want the highlights of the cases I'm covering, or if you would like the cocktail and mocktail recipes separated out from the rest of the video so that you can use them when you mix up your own creations. I'm at Capers and Cocktails with the "and" spelled out for everything but Twitter, and at Twitter it's just at Capers Cocktails. I'm not calling it X, by the way, if you were wondering. Next week will be another short one. We're talking about a drink, actually, that caused a case, or a few cases. Oh, how the turntables. I'll see you next week. And remember, there are always alternatives to robbing a delivery truck for $218 worth of sanitary scrolls.